Happy NFL free agency eve as tomorrow the party really gets started in the National Football League. Welcome into the Chiefs Report. I am your host, Harrison Graham. I got 25 free agent targets to keep in mind once things get started tomorrow. So here we go. Let's take a look at 5 wide receivers first. And let's start with DJ Chark from the Jacksonville Jaguars. High upside, somewhat injury-prone type of guy. He's had a couple of big seasons with Jacksonville. Has had some injury concerns as well. Obviously, he's played with some pretty poor coaches and quarterbacks. I won't blame Trevor Lawrence last year. Chark got hurt anyway. But the point being is you put him with a guy like Patrick Mahomes, he could cook. Christian Kirk is another name to monitor here from the Arizona Cardinals. I kind of think he signs with the new team. He's looking to cash in. Curious to see how aggressive the Chiefs get in free agency at wide receiver, as they could certainly add another body to the mix. How about Marquez Valdes-Scantling from the Green Bay Packers? If you want to go with a cheaper but really fast, deep type of target, Valdes-Scantling is typically near the top of the NFL in yards per catch. Now, he's not going to give you 60 or 70 catches. He might just give you 30 or 40, but he might average 17, 18 yards a catch and hit a couple of home runs as well. JuJu Smith-Schuster for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's been connected to Kansas City going back to last offseason, narrowed down to the Chiefs and the Steelers. Decided to go back to Pittsburgh. I wonder if he thinks that was a mistake. Had an injury-riddled year this year. Obviously, when he did play, Big Ben Roethlisberger was not the same guy. Here's to see what his market is. I think there's mutual interest between the Chiefs and JuJu. Allen Lazard, as we go back to a Green Bay target here, as him and Valdes-Scantling both set to hit the open market. One of the best blocking wide receivers in the NFL, and he's improved as a route runner and as a pass catcher year in and year out, both statistically and from an overall standpoint. I think he's an interesting name to keep in mind. Neighbor wide receiver that you think the Chiefs should sign in NFL free agency, let us know in the comments. Curious to see what type of player you'd like to see the Chiefs sign. Let's go to cornerback now, J.C. Jackson, who is going to cost a lot of money, but if I'm going to spend a lot of money on one player in free agency, if I'm Brett Veach, this is the guy to do it on. He's an elite corner who gets takeaways, picks the ball off. He's a really, really, really good player. Levi Wallace for the Buffalo Bills, kind of a textbook number 2 corner. If you lose Charvarius Ward, he could come in and replace him. I think that would be a good swap, especially if you save some money there, because I think someone might pay Ward top dollar. How about Patrick Peterson? Look, he's getting older, but this is the type of guy Brett Veach likes. A guy who's played at a high level, but you could get him a little bit cheaper. He can come in here into a championship culture and be a veteran leader on that defense. If you lose a Tyrann Mathieu, Patrick Peterson can help replace some of that leadership on that side of the ball. I think he's a name to watch out for, even though he's not what he used to be. Ahkello Witherspoon for the Pittsburgh Steelers, a younger player who's had a bit of an up-and-down career. Started with San Francisco, was on that Niners team when the Chiefs beat the 49ers in the Super Bowl just a couple of years ago. Some upside there as kind of a mid-tier CB2 type. Tavon Young, who got released from the Baltimore Ravens, fascinated to see what his market ends up being. He's still only 26, 27 years old as well. I think he's got a lot left in the tank, and you could bring him in on a 1 or 2 year deal, and he could contribute for you. NFL free agency, like I mentioned, gets started tomorrow. So subscribe so you don't miss any of our Chiefs updates. We'll have you guys covered, and no one's going to cover free agency like we will here at Chat Sports and on the Chiefs Report. So subscribe. Jadeveon Clowney, as we go to defensive ends here. Listen, this would be a splashy type of guy. Maybe you cut Frank Clark, bring in Clowney. I think that would be pretty darn interesting. My guy Matthew Peterson, who covers the Browns for us at Chat Sports, thinks it's 50-50 on whether he'll be back or not with Cleveland. If he's not, watch out. Emmanuel Ogbah with the Miami Dolphins. We've talked about him a couple of times because he was here in Kansas City in 2019. Signed a 2-year deal with Miami, played really well, looking to cash in. Chiefs probably won't pay top dollar for him, but if he's still there in the second or third wave in free agency, he could be a guy to keep in mind. Jason Pierre-Paul with the Buccaneers. Would he take a little bit less to come play in Kansas City? He's obviously getting a little bit older. He's kind of in that window of he either needs to decide to take top dollar or chase a championship, and obviously the Chiefs are a team he could win a title with. Dante Fowler, who was already released by the Atlanta Falcons, but that was his last team. He's available to sign right now. He would be more of a bargain bin guy, as he's been a little bit disappointing in recent years, but a name to monitor. And then we'll get to our last guy here in just a sec. Last up here is Chandler Jones, who there's been some ties to Kansas City. I saw The Athletic predicted that he would sign with the Chiefs. Take that for what it's worth. Getting a little bit older at 32 years old now, but when he's locked in, he's one of the best pass rushers in the NFL. If you remember, he had a 5-sack game earlier this past season. Now, March Madness is here, and if you want to bet on the NCAA tournament, maybe you're a Kansas fan. Kansas State is not dancing this year, neither is Missouri, but hopefully you're a Rock Chalk guy. If not, I went to TCU. My team's in the dance as well. Chatsports.com/ChiefsBet. Promo code Chiefs125 to get 125% deposit bonus. Here are the national championship odds here. Gonzaga the favorite at +450. Arizona and Kentucky at +650. Duke's at +1,000. And then the defending champion Baylor Bears sitting at +1,100. Let's go to defensive tackle now, B.J. Hill for the Cincinnati Bengals, and we'll go ahead and pair him with Larry Ogunjobi with Cincinnati as well. A couple of Cincinnati players here to keep in mind at the defensive tackle position. I think both of these guys impressed me in the playoffs and in that AFC Championship game, and bringing one of those guys in here makes sense for a front four that needs some help. Malik Collins from the Houston Texans is a young guy that I would gamble on. He's played a little bit better the last year and a half, 2 years. Inconsistent start to his career, but he's still only 26, and I think that gambling on young players with upside makes some sense. Now, this would be the opposite. Akeem Hicks, an older guy who, when healthy, is still really, really good and really, really productive. I don't think the Bears will bring him back, and if he is available, that is a guy I would look at because he can still really get after the passer. The problem is he gets injured quite often, so keep that in mind. Eddie Goldman, another Chicago Bear who got released by the Bears on Friday. More of a nose tackle type, but you could put him next to Chris Jones. He could be, maybe a slight upgrade from Derek Nottie if he is locked in. Ian Rappaport believes he'll have a market, so we'll see how that plays out. What is the biggest need on defense for the Kansas City Chiefs? Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Biggest positional need on the defensive side of the ball for Kansas City. Let's go to safety now. Landon Collins from Washington. He got released just a couple of days ago. But they overpaid him. But I think now that he's got his money, you could actually get him for cheap. If you want to go a cheaper option to replace Tyrann Mathieu, Landon Collins could be a nice get. Let's go Marcus Williams next up here on the safety free agent targets. How about a Tyrann Mathieu Marcus Williams swap? Who says no? I don't know if either team says no, to be quite frank. Obviously, it would depend on money, but Williams is a nice young player. Quandre Diggs with the Seattle Seahawks coming off a torn Achilles, so that's obviously a factor with him, but he's still only 29. He was playing some of the best ball of his career before he got tore that Achilles. We'll see what his market shakes out being. Marcus May for the New York Jets is a strong safety option as well. He's also coming off a torn Achilles, so unclear what his market will end up being. And that's a name to monitor, though. Maybe a cheap one-year deal. Jabril Peppers, he hasn't really lived up to the hype in the NFL, but he's a decent box safety if you want to go cheaper at that position. And he's still pretty young, and he has special teams value as well. There you have it. Top 25 free agent targets for the Kansas City Chiefs. Tomorrow it all gets started, so appreciate you guys very much. Be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you soon here on the Chiefs Report.